Welcome to Tower Talk Business Radio on the voice of Nassau Community College 90.3 WHPC. Tower Talk Business Radio brings you conversations with the top business minds on Long Island and around the nation, including expert consultants and small business owners who have found success, but are also willing to share their top tips, failures, and give gritty, matter-of-fact advice based on their first-hand experience. And now, let's get down to business with Tower Talk Business Radio, powered by the Nassau Community College Foundation.
Hello and welcome to Tower Talk Business Radio, powered by the Nassau Community College Foundation. My name is Ray Schwetz, AVP of Nephew Business Services, along with Donyshia Boston-Hill, CEO, keeper of the brand, marketing, and digital agency, and we're focused on being the premier resource for business and entrepreneurship.
Ray and I bring you weekly business advice, tips, tools, and services that help you grow your business. Plus, we interview the top business leaders in the industry. But first, let's jump into Success Chat.
Yes.
So according to Harvey Firestone, Ray, the way to being a pioneer and the road to being a pioneer is really rough. Business owners and entrepreneurs really must release their fear and become fearless if they want that pioneering spirit. And I think that's really what's needed in society. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I think so. I think, look, if we keep doing the same thing over and over again, we'll never change. We'll never bring out things like, inventing rock and roll, inventing rap, inventing, the space shuttle. If we do the same thing, we just keep, repeating ourselves, we're never going to actually progress.
I agree. And I've been so crazy this week. I'm energized. I was in the room with Tyler Perry, Richard Branson, Carol Price, the CEO of Soul Cycle. I mean, it's been an amazing 2 weeks. So just to be able to talk about, forward thinking and being a pioneer is super exciting.
And now you're stuck here with me.
And now I'm here with you.
What? Yeah, how did that happen?
I don't know.
Thankfully, it's not just me, because we happen to have with us today a true pioneer. We have, bringing us business empowerment today, our celebrated hip-hop-oriented entertainer and educator, Dr. Dre Brown, who long ago established himself as a savvy creator of popular culture. He's a child of New York City's Long Island suburbs. Dr. Dre, when he began hosting the Operating Room, a pioneering rap radio show for Adelphi University's WBAU in 1983. So Dre has made his mark on radio and television, in the movies and in print, working successfully as a DJ, a composer, a talent scout, a program host, an actor, an author, and critic. And Dre is likely to be best known as the co-host with Ed Lover of Yo MTV Raps from 1989 to 1995, the TV show that did more than any other show to make rap music and hip-hop culture a global phenomenon. Dre, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Wow, I got to get $1 for you here. That was an excellent reading of the bio. How about that?
Thank you, sir.
I'm excited about that. But I want to respond to something that you said, how things need to change to move forward. I kind of see the opposite. We haven't changed at all, really. We continuously keep going in the same vicious circle, not even a greater circle. Our progression may be through what you think is technology, but this technology existed before we had it now. It's just a modern sense of what has always been. Because our greatest technology is between our two ears. Because between those two ears is the greatest computer, laptop, hard drive that's ever been created. So it's to my assessment, if you really look at what's going on, we keep moving in a big giant circle, and we haven't progressed actually forward to where we should be. We should actually be doing things like when they're talking about doing space travel and going outside the Earth and reaching the different universes and finding other planets and other beings. We should be there already, but we're not. We hold ourselves back. We deal with the fact that we are on perpetual force of destroying ourselves by letting climate change affect us in this way. As for a perfect example, yesterday it was a record-breaking 78-degree weather in February in New York.
It's crazy.
I'm frightened when that happens. I'm not, oh, God, I'm so excited. Let me take off my shirt. Oh, this is great. No, because I don't want to see 6 degrees in July.
Right.
See, that's when you have to worry. And see, people get it twisted. See, we live in a society of comfort. And comfortability. Whenever great change has ever happened, it's happened under duress, because pressure makes diamonds. You can't take a piece of coal and lay it here and say, oh, it's a diamond.
Right.
It takes thousands of years of pressure for that thing to become a stone that we all sit and exalt and hold and say, look, this is a diamond. So what we've been witnessing and what we've been living through right now is constant perpetual downgrading. Although we've exalted ourselves and felt as human beings we're doing such a great thing, and look at our grand society, it's not as grand as we think. Or the issue that just happened down in, the incident in Florida would not have happened. And then we're still debating simplicity of gun control. And children are losing their lives. So how do we think we're a forward-thinking society and we keep thinking backward?
Yeah, the answer seems pretty simple.
It's very simple because in the days of the wild, wild west, they said you can't do that. They took people's guns away for that reason because they knew, here's the perfect combination. I have a gun on my hip, I go into a saloon, I drink a lot, and bingo, there's a death. How'd that happen? So when we think we're going forward, are we really going forward? Or should I just say Wakanda forever? How does it work? How do we have an imaginary society on a screen that perpetuates a grand civilization that we have the ability to obtain right now? But yet we think in shadow rather than sight.
Yeah. I think that's the hope, though. I think the hope is, if we're working towards that ideal.
No, we've been working towards that ideal since Adam and Eve got out of here.
Yeah.
When are we going to stop with the idea and the hope? It's what you do. I quote a great character from a movie called The Empire Strikes Back. Mm-hmm. He said, "You either do or you do not." Thank you, Yoda.
Yes. I was going to say, who is that, Yoda?
Oh, that's how it works. It really is the truth. There is no try. Look at my size. And that's where you fail when you don't do. You can do and fail to learn to do again. But when you don't do it all, or when you ignore the signs, you look where we sit. So I don't mean to change that because I'm fascinated by this program at this. I really am.
We're so happy to have you on the show.
I am.
We are.
I'm very. I went to Nassau Community College.
Did you?
Oh yes.
Oh, wow.
I knew you went to Adelphi, so Nassau as well.
I started in Nassau and I graduated. I left on the dean's list, and I never knew they had a radio station here until I got to Adelphi.
Wow.
Oh yeah, that was the beauty mark of it all. I mean, I spent my first 2 years here going to all the great classes, and I went through Professor Jenkins, Professor Wise, Steve Lloyd. I can't even remember all the great professors I had to deal with and went to class with, because my focus when I left high school was study hard. My father told me that before he passed away. And the only reason I came here is because my father passed away. I was a big sports playing football guy and trying to get to USC and play football there or go to Syracuse University. And I decided I got to stay home with my mom and make it work for myself. And I did. So I applied all my efforts into my education. And I'm very, very blessed that I did that. So after leaving Nassau Community College, to quote the great Belle Biv DeVoe, I fell for the big button to smile, and I went to Adelphi University. But I can't be angry at her, because if it wasn't the big button to smile to get me there, I would have never met Bill Stephanie, Carlton Ridenauer, also known as Chuck D from Group Public Enemy, and Harold McGregor, because we met in our black music class.
We heard about that. We're going to jump into that in a bit.
You are listening to Tower Talk Business Radio on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. I'm Ray Schwetz, along with Donyshia Boston-Hill, and our guest today is Andre Dr. Dre Brown, hip-hop pioneer.
Can I say 90.3 one time?
Please.
Because I miss saying 90.3 FM. I won't say our call letters, but I'll just say 90.3 FM. I should say that.
We'll take it. So now let's go back to Adelphi a little bit. So you were at Adelphi on the air with the operating room.
No, not that fast. No, gotta get there first. Big button to smile.
Big button to smile. Then you're on the air.
Nope, not on the air yet. I went to a black music course taught by the great late Andre Strobert, Dr. Andre Strobert, who brought us all together, was teaching us the history of black music in the world. Okay. And we were there, and I used to sit there going to school. I used to have on a sweater vest and a tie, and I used to see Chuck. I'm not going to describe what Chuck used to wear, and Bill, and we would talk about music and what we liked. And I always brought up Earth, Wind and Fire, Paul and Funkadelic, and that. They kept turning around looking at, what is this guy?
And they would think of hip hop, and you're talking about
no. See, we keep thinking that hip hop / rap music at the time, because hip hop is the culture, rap is the music. Rap wasn't that way at that moment. It was something that we did. It was an exciting part of the growth of what was about to happen, but we were there on the cusp of it starting to grow.
Okay.
So it wasn't. That's what says. When I talk about Earth, Wind and Fire, I talk about James Brown, I talk about Parliament Funkadelic. That was kind of what we were talking about. And then when we talk about the rap artists of that moment, it was Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five, Africa Bambaataa, the Soul Sonic Force. It was Curtis Blow. It was my good friend Cool Cow, Star Child. It was those kind of people who kind of started out the Treacherous Three and going to see movies like, no, this is just before, when I was at the station, we saw Beach Street when that first came out. So when there was nothing tangible the way it is today. It was in that infancy stage. It was before before Video Music Box. There was Carlos De Jesus and New York Videos. I forgot what he called it. Video Music Box. No, it wasn't Video Music. It was New York Videos, something of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
They used to come Hot Tracks. Hot Tracks.
Oh,
yeah. See,
we're taking it back. Hot Tracks.
No, but that's, you know why I always try to not just be correct people, is that our history is important, and how we discuss our history is just as important. So not to come up with my own version of the history and say, oh yeah, we did it all. I went straight to Adelphi, I went straight to the operating room. No, that was like a year development before I even started to do that. The show was Mr. Bill's show at the time, because I used to listen to the Mr. Bill show. You know, when we used to have the antenna, you know how it was here when you could barely hear it, but you know you were broadcasting because you were happy to be just broadcasting, but you couldn't hear it outside of the corners of Nassau Community College. But the thing was, we heard it because I was a street DJ, and I grew up in Westbury, Newcastle, right here, about 5-10 minutes from here. And I used to DJ in the parks. I used to DJ in the community centers. I used to DJ in all the different Uniondale, Hempstead, Freeport, Roosevelt, Westbury, Glen Cove, in this area. So our music, when we had a rap record back then, it was very rare. It was rare. So like when the Sugar Hill Gang came around, people always go, Sugar Hill Gang was the first rap record. I go, no. The first rap record really was by the group called a Fatback Band, and that was called King Tim III, Personality Jock. Now some people argue about that. No, it wasn't. No, it was this, was that. No, it was, because when we got King Tim III and you played that song, the whole place went crazy. Because to the beat, everybody, to the beat. About a while ago, I just want you to know just who you've been listening to. It's like, what? On a record? And then there was Woody Wood came out with a record. DJ Hollywood came out with a record. But it was Sugar Hill Gang that galvanized because of the song Good Times by Chic in 1980 when that was released. And that bass line and that whole charismatic feel that carried us through the summer. See, I remember songs by summer, what I call summer hits. If this song lasted through the summer, it was a huge song. Right. Then out of nowhere, and I just say out of nowhere, here comes Rapper's Delight. Bang. And when Rapper's Delight hits, it's hitting with the biggest song of the day, which was Good Times, which then evolved into I can't think of the guy's name, but it was Bounce, Rock, Skate, Roll, Vaughn Mason and Crew, which was another derivative of Good Times, along with Miss You by the Rolling Stones was a derivative of Good Times. I mean, Good Times had so many derivatives of it, but it wasn't, again, rap music was in that infancy. So when Sugar Hill Gang burst onto the scene with that song, Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five had put out a song called Flash to the Beat and Fusion Beats, but that was on independent Bozo Miko labels. So this thing that we call rap at the time was emerging. So when hip-hop, the terminology came out, it encompassed not only just the art, it encompassed the breakdancing, it also encompassed the music, which was called rap. So what happens now is that you're getting a parts history where we're folding over like that didn't exist. And we got to stop that, because when you talk about rock and roll and you break rock and roll down from its infancy to where it became at its highest points, you discuss Chuck Berry, because when you talk to the Beatles, they discuss Muddy Waters. When you discuss discuss rock and roll, you have to discuss the great Little Richard, because these gentlemen forged this thing called rock and roll when Elvis stepped in and said he was imitating what they were doing, and he was palatable to the mass audience that looked at him. And even he had problems, because the way he was dancing is the way he saw people dancing to this music that was being created that everyone loved. But then the industry created terminology so that they could separate. And they call it race music. This was this was that. But those people traveled together and loved hearing this music. That's where the formation of the group called the Beatles, who used to be called the Quarrymen, came from. And they'll tell you, we listened to all this other